Welcome to the General's Gentlemen.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Offworld Trading Company.
Welcome indeed.
Yeah, your economic Martian thrill ride is about to begin.
We appreciate your presence here today.
We've been meaning to do this for a while. We've done a practice cast so far. It was a little bit rough, so this will probably be the first one that we post. So today we're going to have a match between myself and Rahul Jain. There was a bit of a trouble getting replays because there was just a patch out, so we didn't intend on doing my own game, but this was quite an awesome match, so we're doing it anyway.
I'm down. And at least I will be surprised. I don't think I remember spectating this particular one, though I probably have spectated 25% of your matches at least, I'd say. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, if you guys do have any replays that you think would make it a great cast for Offworld Trading Company, then please do send them in to Callum at generalsgentleman.com. Links in the description. So before we unpause, we'll take a quick look at the map and really take a look at the prices in the sporting locations and see what would be a good idea. So one thing that I will say as well is that I have done a review for this game and I have done a beginner's explanation video where I ran and explain some of the mechanics and such. So if you haven't seen this game before, do check out my beginner's explanation video, which I would recommend. And other than that, then let's have a look at the map.
Cool. Down for that.
So the first thing to do is look at the prices. So, you know, what stands out, what's expensive, what's not, as well as the colony. So when I was playing this, I looked at this, I saw the fact that chemicals is not only selling for a lot as a starting price, it's also going to be drained a lot by the colony. So getting chemicals would be a really great start. And so the best way to go for chemicals is if you start with scavenger, then you already have access to carbon.
Yep. Already have that extra carbon income for the taking, which is nice. So the machine will be looking for carbon areas, as we see here. The crater is the most obvious location for this. This is all running through your mind pretty quickly. So you've got the high carbon there. That's obviously the dream. You have medium carbons, and you also have carbons that you could potentially grab up when you go for the spawn. Of course, grabbing up those resources on spawn. So that's also a possibility.
Other than that, the problem with this though is it's a very small base location. Yeah. So it'll kind of cripple your ability to put those buildings down next to your HQ. So you don't have to. You can put your base next to it, but then you won't get the carbon when you spawn on it, and then also you're gonna have to be paying the fuel costs, which at the moment isn't too much. Other than that, I mean, this is nice in terms of there's a nice aluminum and iron, so you can plonk down your HQ in the middle and kind of absorb a lot of the free points. But both iron and aluminum aren't selling much here at all. They're selling very cheap, so that's not going to be great. And then the water is actually really far away. There isn't a lot of water points either, so the good thing about the carbon here is it's also pretty close to the water. So this is actually really... It's bad because there isn't much water nearby. So that's basically the map. I mean, silicon's actually in the corner as well. So if you want to go for glass, then going in this corner is going to be a bit tricky as well.
Other than that, geothermals all across the location. 6 of them, in fact. So you're not really going to have a problem wherever you spawn having access to an easy geothermal. Which is a very efficient means of power income. Especially
as scavenger when you have a lot of carbon anyway. Whereas some other factions, HQ types, the steel costs are very expensive.
Certainly agree with that. So, yep, that's just about the map. Roll up. So, you ready to get started?
Let's do it.
Fantastic.
Water, food, oxygen, chemicals. Yeah, so that's pretty standard. Apart from the chemicals, is definitely out of the ordinary here. So, this is where I spawn.
Okay.
And nice. My opponent... So he spawned here, and he went science. And I didn't need to pause this. This is weird because as science, you really want to have water nearby. In fact, what probably would have been better off for him is if he went expansive, and then he could have got the higher water, and then just could have built some food or electrolysis nearby his HQ. Instead, he's gonna have to, if he eventually goes for them, he's gonna have to have his expensive buildings mining away.
So he is gonna open up steel onto that iron. Does have a medium there as well if he wants to add on Oh, is it going for an iron lock? Oh, it's just another steel mill, triple steel. Okay,
Yeah, because
standard,
he's science.
Science, so no worries.
It's kind of weird that he didn't put his HQ one more tile to the right.
Yeah.
Because it's actually really important in the early game in particular, because then you have the continuous income rather than having to have it in increments when you ship it, plus obviously the fuel costs. And then you're vulnerable to pirates, so he definitely should have built his HQ.
And I suppose that makes sense when you have limited area to place your HQ down, i.e. you go for a crater like the machine has, then you are somewhat limited in terms of how you spread out your production structures, because you're only going to have so many of them attached to your HQ. But you've got a lot of room over on that right-hand side, even he's not inside of a crater.
So I've already teched up by now. I went for triple chemical refineries. So I have the game sounds down too. I keep lowering them, they're still too loud. I don't know what I'm doing here, man. They gotta do it now. Yeah. So I got on triple chemicals, and so that give me a lot of income, and... Well, unpause that. I don't actually have any of the oxygen, but that's fine. Oxygen is not too expensive. It's still very profitable right now, but obviously the more and more chemicals that I sell, it will go down. I've also put a filthy pirates down to delay his deal. And he mutinied my aluminum. Cheeky.
Very cheeky, yeah. Not too bad. Unfortunately, still within the range of the filthy pirates, assuming the shots of cooldown. That's awkward. That really is awkward.
It's a really unpleasant sound it seems to make when it shoots that down for some reason. It's not normally like that. Also because he didn't have an aluminum mine himself, so that's going to be his aluminum income rather than building that. He's on, is he on his tier 2 yet? No, he's on level 1 still, so that's the thing, is that mutiny's delayed him a fair bit. But at the same time, aluminum was quite expensive there. So I'm already on the triple chemicals. I got the triple carbon. What I've done right is I've gone the goon squad on my high quarry for the carbon, because there's actually underground nuke available, so that's very vulnerable, especially as the scavenger. You really want to hold that high point, and then it's the only high point as well. So then later on, if I eventually get the slant drilling, that's really important. And then the thing is too, is just by using one goon squad, then my opponent doesn't know, has he underground nuked the carbon, has he underground nuked the water, has he a goon squadded, yeah, sorry, he has a goon squadded, or has he goon squadded even the geothermal, which I also have. So just by having one, your opponent is unsure now, and they generally will assume by default that it's going to be the geothermal, which I currently don't have. He will have access to the corporate spy, but in the early game, it's not really worth spending the $3 grand this early on, I think, plus then the other $3 grand for whatever else black market power you use.
Yeah, certainly is quite a costly early investment. So losing out on the aluminum is annoying for the machine. Doesn't have that coming in, but the geothermal's almost done, nice and close to the base, as well as the water. It's a decent spawning location. Big fan.
Yeah, the only problem is though, is that the price of chemicals went down so much, so I actually have them powered off now, because oxygen went up very quickly, chemicals went down, and this was a difficult decision because I didn't want to sell them off because chemicals only would go up in price. And again, the early game, it's really costly to reinvest your tiles. It's not like the kind of the mid-late game where you can just rebuild them, you have a lot of resources. So, what else does he have here? He's got a few unclaimed tiles. Has a geothermal plant himself on the way. He nuked my aluminum. Yeah, okay.
Not bad. Mutiny runs out and then nukes the aluminum.
The least important building though.
Yeah.
The water would have been more important.
Would be the better one. I guess, yeah. Probably the aluminum was the least likely target for the Guden squad. That's what you've got to think about. It's just with so many other crucial structures on the map, the aluminum was pretty much a free nuke in that situation, even if it's not the most cost-efficient one.
I bought out all the glass. I actually bought a little bit too much, but that's fine because then it means he won't be able to have it. So he hasn't got any glass at all. So what you always want to do is if you can buy out the glass first, then it delays your opponent's teching. And also because the colony is actually consuming glass, the price will go up as well. So you want to get that early as possible. So I'll go for the electrolysis here. It's worth more than food, as well as the fact that I need the oxygen for my chemicals. So by going that, it means that I can continue my chemical production.
Yeah, fuel certainly has spiked, and oxygen is starting off quite expensive during this game as well. So a nice investment.
Yeah, of course, it's fuel that is required, whereas then glass needs oxygen, and so Glass is going for a fair bit now as well, but to get glass you need silicon, which is probably not really worth it at this stage. Now this is a little bit annoying. That's a pretty powerful power surge. Doesn't matter that I lost my chemicals because I wasn't actually mining from them, but the electrolysis is quite annoying, especially with how expensive they are at the moment.
Can lead to a bit of a debt spike depending on how you're going, but currently the machine not looking too bad. A decent amount of power income here as well, dropping the price of power with that geothermal up and running.
I have a second one too, but that one's goon squatted.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, I was wondering where your other power was. So yeah, I was very confused as to why you had so much power income and there was a second geothermal, which makes sense. So run me through Energy Vault machine. Energy
Vault, it's power backup. So that's only really applicable for solar, which is why I gave it to him. I didn't actually auction that. So basically, it's good for solar because it means that you store power. So overnight, you're going to be getting power from your storage rather than from debt. So it's as simple as that. Is if you have solar, it's great. If you don't, then there's kind of no point. It might allow him to go for solar. He actually only has one geothermal, so he might want to go for something else as well, but I didn't worry too much about it. Also, the reason why I goon squatted the second one, the second geothermal rather than the first, is because I got the first geothermal. Ooh. Ah, nice. I underground nuked his high water. I actually corporate spied that as well, because I knew he had goon squad somewhere. Yeah, his geothermal.
Yeah, here's the goon squad and the geothermal, so using that corporate spy will ensure you don't run anything too nasty. Was that again? Machine?
Yeah.
Ouch.
A little bit frustrating.
Yeah, and very hard to stop as well. Tough to prevent.
It actually reveals the goon squad on my carbon because it would have connected to the carbon if it wasn't for the goon squad there. So that's actually really hurting me quite a fair bit here. It's really stagnating my production. I'm getting a lot of water, and water's actually selling for a decent price. I've got 2 waters there as well. Currently, my high water is still vulnerable. It's not goon squatted, so that's something that I want to do eventually. But goon squad's quite expensive now. It's 9k, so it'd be a bit too much to commit to early on. And once again, I'm actually working my way up towards the glass. He just now techs up to level 4, so he's a little bit behind, but debt's pretty even as well, actually.
Yeah, very close together, actually. So the machine's debt obviously spiking due to those power surges on the electrostasis,
electrolysis. Yeah,
electrolysis.
And just to make it even worse, the science. Oh, what I thought science was hydrolysis, electrolysis, and hydrolysis because they're slightly different. Okay, maybe they changed the same. Okay, whatever.
Electrolysis reactor.
Yeah, electrolysis. Just to make things complicated. So food's going for a lot. I have a lot of water. He doesn't, because I underground nuked that water. That's really going to be suffering for him. And he gets a low water there as well. What was that? GG, the machine was. Oh right. Okay. So yeah. So I've actually goon squatted the same spot. So he had to do it again. And now that chemicals is actually viable again, now that's kind of annoying still. So yeah, really good use of the power surge. And the problem is that when you have underground nuke available as a black market power, it's so hard. I need to goon squad my high resources and my geothermals and my production. There's so many things you need to goon squad, and having underground nuke just makes it even worse. I guess the problem is my building placement. By building it in this crater, it makes me incredibly vulnerable to this. That's the downside of this, where if I was out in the open like he is, see how there's 2 separate squares, that means the power surge wouldn't be as effective. So it's kind of my fault that I'm this vulnerable to the power surge because I have this clumped up because of the crater. But yeah, it's a risk reward, you know. Was it worth getting the carbon early on? Was it worth getting within proximity to the carbon, but then having your production exposed? It's always that difficult decision making. There's also an auction for the magnetic storm, so his food's vulnerable here. I think we're going to see it soon.
So you'll be going for the food, obviously, as that's the very hardcore expensive resource. So it's actually handy because you already have the corporate spy in position over on that water machine.
Nice.
So, oh, goodbye food.
Underground nuke. Okay, what's that? You got my water. See, that's the thing, right? Is do I goon squad my water? Or do I goon squad my, my production? And there's just so many things you need to goon squad with Underground Nuke. And so, the thing is with Magnetic Storm as well, is it forces your opponent to send smaller increments of resources. I think that was actually a misplay because I thought it was actually food when it was in fact silicon. So I think I Magnetic Stormed silicon by accident. Yeah, whoops. Oh, that's fine. Uses the pirates again, so that'll slow down his food transports. Well, limit their resources. So that's the problem, right?
So would you say you should have put the filthy pirates a little bit further to the left and tried to? I guess then you're going to run into the same problem of hitting the silicon ships as opposed to the food ships.
And on the same path anyway.
Yeah.
Even then, I mean, food is still water is still pretty expensive.
So shall we see the machine transition in some greenhouse farms? He has 3 at the moment.
Yeah, I got 3 there. And so, our man Rahul Jain, he went for teleportation. Very important for science if you have those forward production structures. He's got 2 greenhouse farms, so he's going to be teleporting in. He's no longer vulnerable to the pirates and to the magnetic storms.
Really well played. Good stuff there. So the pattern lab, obviously available now for Rahul Jain. See what he decides to go for next. Go for slant drilling at the moment.
Slant drilling, yeah, I mean...
Yeah, he doesn't have the high water anymore, so...
I don't think it'll benefit him, but it would benefit me. So maybe he wants to be a nice denial. And that's a really nasty, filthy pirates.
Yeah, well positioned, especially when you don't have access to the teleportation, so... Goon Squad's gone up. Has he Goon Squadded the pattern lab? Is that covered at the moment, or...?
Nope.
Nope. Not at all. So you're thinking about a mutiny machine? Are you considering it?
Well, I didn't know that or not. Yeah, it would have been a bit risky. And even then, you just mutiny it back. The best thing that you can do is use the demo if you have it.
Yeah.
But if you mutiny it, chances are it's just going to mutiny it back from you. Well, I have a lot of carbon saved up. Yeah, I eventually I will replace my carbon with something else because that much carbon in the bank and not selling for much. It's always worth replacing your resources if that's the case.
Machine currently not having access to black market. They aren't trading with him. He does not have a good credit rating, to say the least. So. Oh
yeah, I'm in a lot of debt. I think the food was very late. I kind of got stuck without having food for a while, and yeah, that's quite punishing. I do manage to sell off a fair bit of the debt though, so that's kind of where I'm in a tricky spot. He's actually overtaken me considerably in terms of the share price, just because his debt is. It's actually still a fair bit though, but it's less than mine. The pirate's looking very lonely.
Where are the ships?
Poor pirates.
What has happened? Not a good time at all.
Oh wait, yeah, no, I didn't sell my debt off. I think I swapped player. Yeah, so my 200,000. That's a lot of debt, and I just need to try and sell it off. I don't have. I mean, power's gone down to nothing really. Even food, because water is so expensive here that I can't even gather food or the electrolysis. So I'm just gonna be selling off the water, selling off glass. Hopefully I can bank through it. I've actually replaced my carbon with the electronics and the optimization center, because I have a fair bit of carbon income, so I can get the upgrades on that.
Yeah, big carbon float there, up to about 2k, so plenty for keeping him in a good position, especially when you're already up to a level 5.
Wait, what? He got cold fusion? Buildings are powered with water if cheaper than power. Yeah.
Yeah, look. Probably not the best choice.
This is smart though. Financial instruments. He should have got that a long time ago. Because he has the patent lab and he wasn't getting it. Financial instruments, it gives you a 25% cut of the interest on debt repayments. So this is it's gonna be a really good upgrade. I'm already in a lot of debt, so I don't want to get it too badly. Yeah, I don't get more than this.
Probably let it go.
But it'd be a really good upgrade. 25% cut of whatever the daily bonus is. It can definitely add up. But that should have been the first upgrade that he got, looking at the share price difference. The best way to tell how much debt your opponent has is by looking at your debt and comparing it to your stock price, and then looking at your opponent's stock price and going, well, if his stock price is lower than mine, then he must be in more debt. For the most part, it's accurate.
So optimizing food production, pretty good choice. Another good surge onto those farms. However, the machine's added on 3 more.
Yeah, that's painful to watch. I can't remember who got the thinking machines. I got thinking machines, actually. Nice. So that gives its half delay on the black market sabotage powers. I've got more food here as well. I've got a lot of food now because it's selling for so much. 187.
It's pretty crazy.
And he only has... Oh, he has 4, actually. So he's got a fair bit, too. He's using a glass one of his own.
Optimization center heading towards done on food again. Yeah, to level 2 now.
Yeah.
Really are committing to that.
Yeah, it's just so expensive that, and water as well. If I get food and water, then I'll get a lot of money from that. And it's still negative is electrolysis, but I don't have any. And wait, he does? I guess that's fine because he's science, so he's not getting any water drain. He's getting the water for free. Yeah, okay. Other than that, I mean, carbon's gone down considerably. So his steel. At the moment, no one has access to the off-world markets. Okay, what do we have? Power surge. Where did that go? Oh, the food again, man. Leave me alone.
It's brutal.
And he also pirated my water, man. This guy he's not happy.
He's not happy with you at all, machine. Really loving the use of the black markets. I believe you have a filthy pirate in the bank, which is now completely useless as well, which is
not... No, I did.
Yeah.
No, that was him that had it.
Oh, it was him, was it? Okay, right, yeah. Ended up using it.
It's a bit confusing swapping perspective. This is Rahul Paul, and this is me, so I have more debt. I'm also now building the off-world market. I built it where there was already a goon squad, so I didn't have to buy that upgrade again. And it was on a chemical, which isn't going for that much at the moment, so it's not like I'm going to be losing the income there.
Yeah. Still having 2 of them producing and using those chemicals for the optimization center at the moment, so.
I did it again, where I instinctively click the auction.
Yeah. You just want whatever it is. You know, one day that's going to be lose 2 claims or something, and you're going to click on the bid.
Oh, no.
Like, lose 2 claims.
Okay, so I got the meal there. So with how expensive water is, that should pay off. That being said, is there any available water points? I don't think you can actually... You can't use it if there's no water points. You have to click on water for it to work. Yeah, whoops. Food still negative. Wow. Water is just selling for so much, which I fortunately have a lot of. Does he have optimization? He does. Yeah, he's optimization of his own.
Yeah.
He doesn't have any chems though, so all the patterns that he's using, all the optimizations that he's doing will kind of go back towards me that actually has the chemical income.
Yeah. Going to increasing those chemical prices, so I'll be selling for a bit more. The patent lab has been busy. We should see pretty much all of them at this stage.
Yeah, it'd be worth now just deleting it and then replacing that tile with maybe the off-world market. I'm not sure if he'll do that or not.
Once you get everything that you need, so.
He has a single electronics as well. He's actually going for a fair bit as well, plus 85. Yeah, so he gets 4 grand. It'll eventually pay off, but I think he maybe paid him too much for it, 36,000. And I have been gradually selling my debt. I've been making sure that I keep below the worst bond rating threshold, just so not only so I get less debt, but then he gets less interest off of that. So that's kind of what I've been doing. I get the off-world market though. I don't think I have the hologram. No, I don't. So he sees it, even though he used they used a corporate spy just to see if it was goon squatted or not. That's going to be selling oxygen off as well, so I'm in a pretty good spot because I have the off-world market before he does. And a lot of water income, which I think is just been earning me a lot of money.
Placing those 3 farms as well, once they started to, we saw the food price drop and obviously the oxygen price increase, shipping some of that oxygen off-world. Oxygen going for quite a lot. Can we check the off-world prices? Can we check? There we go, yep. Yeah, nice.
Yeah, so Food and oxygen are pretty much always the best two, at least early on. Depends on what the on-world market price is as well, because you have to buy the food to launch it. So if something's really expensive on-world, it's generally not as good off-world. In this case, it still is though. So, but it depends what's in demand and what's not. Oh, he has one now in the middle, which isn't goon squatted. Oh no, it is. Yeah, okay, wrong perspective.
Yeah, it was just goon squatted.
And then this is my mutiny. He has one as well, I think. So we both have a mutiny stocked up.
Just gotta find something good to use it on, I suppose. Your optimization center not very busy at the moment, machine. It's just...
Get oxygen.
Oh no, you are right.
Yeah, wrong perspective.
Right, wrong perspective. Yeah, it's very confusing.
Yeah,
right.
it's a little bit hard to tell what player is what. It'd be nice if there was more of a distinct overlay that tells you what faction you are, what thing you have selected for the spectator at least. Wait, what? Double optimization center?
Whoa!
Really?
Interesting.
He's gonna be buying a lot of chemicals.
Yeah. It's gonna spike the parts of chemicals right up. Yeah, as we can see, the increase is already starting to go.
Especially with how look how expensive it was, 22k, because electronics is really expensive. Wait, this is the wrong player, but still, oh, 16. Wait, no, even more, 32k, 16k for the electronics, and then 16k for the steel. So steel's expensive. I think it's actually a big mistake here. That should have been another offload market, which is even more expensive for him. A goon squad. Okay, so he power surged my offload market, which was goon squatted, and now he has also a mutiny in the bank as well.
So he should use the mutiny, right?
Yeah, it's defended, so you can't use it until the defended wears off. But even then, I can just mutiny back from him. But he doesn't know that. It's always good to preemptively build the mutiny. I think I did the same. Yeah, I took away his goon squad on the offload market, and my debt's actually gone down. I've been selling off the debt with the offload market money. Man, this is just constant back and forwards. Where's it gone now?
Back onto the Offworld market because you re-goon squatted it, and then he re-power surged it, and now the power surge is back over to Rahul's. Are you gonna do it again?
Well, he's goon squatted again. The thing is because I got the goon squad first, it meant that he has to pay more.
Yeah.
So it can work out depending on who does it first, because then you have to rebuy it, and the price goes up pretty drastically, especially. Okay, this is the middle.
So he re-goon squatted and caught the mutiny, and you got mutinied because you don't have a goon squad available.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So if anything, Rahul's actually come out ahead here.
Well, we'll see. But yeah, the fact that
he actually managed to land the mutiny, so he's looking pretty good. Yeah.
Oh, he got the
pleasure dome.
Yeah. He has. Oh, the pattern lab's gone, so we can't get the holograms. Virtual reality, yeah, because the increased efficiency. Okay, so it's mutinied back. So yeah, it does not matter. He has a mutiny in the bank, I think, as well. And he mutinies it back. This is nonsense. This is just black market. At least I do have the thinking machine, so it's only half the duration. That thinking machine is very, very valuable. One of the strongest ones, even perhaps stronger than teleportation a lot of the time. But still, I'm getting all my stock in my company up, so it's going to be harder for him to buy me out. My stock price has also gone ahead as my debt has mostly been sold off. Man, look how much chemicals has gone up. That was a bad idea. I mean, I think it's a bad idea at least. He's going to get the double upgrades simultaneously, but you can do that one at a time. Okay, so what happened there? That was... Right, yeah, so that was the power surge in the middle. That was mutinied back again. So it's hard to keep up. It's honestly hard to keep up with who's got what.
Yeah, it definitely is. But mutiny is back and forth and all over the place, and the income is getting out of hand as well.
$21 debt interest.
Hey, making dollars.
Yeah,
so it definitely wasn't worth the $36,000 that he paid. So the machine brought up most of his stock, obviously going to increase the potential buyout cost, and has a much higher share price now at the moment because look at that debt.
Rahul actually has a lot of money in the bank, 300,000, but he has a lot of debt too, so that's why his stock price is so low. And because I bought out most of my stock, it meant that he gonna have to pay a lot to buy me out. And then it's because he has debt, it means his price goes down, so it's going to be easier for me to buy him out, as you can see them doing that. And when you buy your opponent's stock, your price goes up. So that's why there's such a big disparity. It's not only the fact that that he's in debt, but also because I have a lot of his stock in his company. So it's really important to do that. Personally, I would have sold off the debt, but he thinks that he can obviously buy me out beforehand. We'll have to see if that's the case.
It'll be a super great fight, nonetheless. So, chemicals, we obviously see that price spike due to double optimization center and the fact that there's no chemical income for Rahul Jain.
Oh, look at that.
That's actually a really nicely placed pleasure dome. Holy hell. Wow.
I think it was auctioned, but yeah, wow, that's crazy, 210. And I'm pretty sure that is without the... Oh, he does have it. Oh, okay, he does get that one, nice. So he's getting the extra income from that. But yeah, that's it's a really good spot. Especially if another dome gets built there, the habitat dome. So I have a mutiny off, and it's 1 minute 20, or 2 minutes rather, since there's no thinking machines. So in that late game situation, thinking machines, it just pays off so much. So the reason why the EMP is so valuable here is because it's an extra black market power that doesn't get your cooldown. So then you can burn a goon squad and it won't affect your cooldown. He actually oh, he EMP'd his own Offworld market.
No, that was your MP.
No, because I mutinied it. Because I'm pretty sure I mutinied it, so he goon squatted it, I think.
Right.
Unless I'm mistaking it and he mutinied it back. This is so confusing, man, honestly. Original owner, you mutinied here. Yes, that's my mutiny. So he's
but
preventing...
Is it, though? Look at your base, because you might have 2 off-world markets at the moment, so...
Oh, you're right. You're right. Yeah. It is. Sorry, it is
mutiny.
My EMP.
He
oh
mutinied
man.
it back, and then you EMP'd his mutiny. So.
Right. Also, in this situation, being scavenger is really nice because I have half the cooldown. I can use the black market powers on less of a cooldown here. So I think I'm mutinying that back.
Not yet.
I mutinied here. This is science. Yeah. Right. So. Oh yeah, he's mutinied me, but I mutinied it back, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, man, this is nuts. But yeah, I have 2 Offworld markets. He's actually been selling off some of his debt, which has been evening up the stock price. So we're actually pretty close at the moment because we both have 50% ownership of our company, 49% of the other person's ownership.
And for the most part, debt's a lot of debt's quite sold off. Currently, Rahul Jain looking at a 50% of total buyout. GG the Machine on 30% of total buyout.
Yeah, and this is where it's actually really difficult. Do you go for Goon Squad? Because the Goon Squad's expensive. It's 80,000. So that's when, and also because Mutiny is worth so much, it's not really worth kind of mutinying at this stage, which is why we may see a bit more variety of black market powers. So his power surged me again. In the same spot, but yeah, it's just not worth really getting the Goon Squad. Unless everything else is expensive too.
Especially with corporate spies chilling everywhere, so...
Yeah, that's right, you can see it.
So with this double optimization center, I mean, is Rahul Jain, is he making use of them, or...
Well...
Have you seen them be very active, or not really? I mean...
I think maybe he's got all of his optimizations down. This is mine. And then this is his. So he has the oxygen. He has a fair bit of them. I just have the chemicals as well. And so I'm currently at 280k. He's at 100. He's under 170. And the stock price pretty much on point here. Look at that. Complete. The perfect place to dome. That must have been earning him so much cash. And the price of food's gone down. Oxygen and food gone up a lot. Wow, look at how much electronics is going for. Electronics, it's a little bit deceptive though because it's only plus 0.25 as opposed to plus 0.5 that most of those are. But I keep power surging his Offworld market, so he's not really mining anything from there. So his income is going pretty slow. We can see that the buyout prices are pretty much tied at the moment. He's currently ahead by 2%. He's pirating. Okay, he wants to pirate my electrolysis.
Of course, with oxygen up quite high, probably not a bad pirates there. And Pirate's still one of the cheaper black market powers, given it hasn't been overused.
Yeah, but his Offworld market keeps getting power surged here, so it hasn't been mining properly. And power surge has now gone up in price a little bit too much, where it's not quite worth it.
Alright, you're just about... Yeah.
Oh, no, it's 50k for me. It's 130k for him.
Yeah.
Because he used it so much in the early game, it meant the price for him went up. And the price for me stayed at a pretty reasonable level. So I've been using that continuously on his Offworld market.
And you're looking pretty good here with the Offworld markets machine. You're getting pretty close. There's a mutiny though. So Rahul Jain trying to buy a little bit more time.
He spent 80k for the mutiny. 80k for that mutiny he just spent.
Wow.
Maybe a little bit too much there, as there's going to be a 100% buyout. And that should be the GG. Wait. GG the machine, yeah. I could buy him out 100%. Why am I not buying him out?
Successful off-world shipment.
There we go. There we go. That's the buyout.
Nice.
Yeah, that was a close game.
GG, well played.
GG. Yeah, I mean, I didn't play that perfect. I think that he made a few mistakes as well, obviously. But overall, a well-played game and a very close one. Very hectic until the end. I got wrecked. Pretty much, I had a really good start. I got wrecked in the mid game because of this placement here, and because I had to keep gooning all of my high resource points for the underground nuke. So, I guess in hindsight, it may have been better for me to actually just not spawn there, just spawn over here or something. Spawn around and then just mine my carbon instead of actually having it within proximity like that. Especially how cheap carbon was in the early game. It was only 10. It was a selling point, so I could have just bought it for pretty cheap. But anyway, yeah, that was Offworld Trading Company. Hope you enjoyed your time casting. Hope you enjoyed watching as well.
It's pretty great. If
you do want to check it out, I would recommend it. It's a really great game. I've had a bunch of fun with it. I've had 150 hours so far. It's a different spin on RTS. It's kind of a more relaxing RTS. There's a lot of decision making, but you don't have to frantically click at things. There's no APM required. There's no micro. It's a more relaxing. It's more of a mental RTS than a physical control RTS. It's real time strategy, not real time execution.
Yeah.
Which is what StarCraft 2 is. Well, it's a combination of the two, but yeah. Anyway, so thanks for watching. If you do want to support the channel, then you can do so at our Patreon. If you want to see more Offworld Trading Company, let us know in the comments. We're pretty keen to cast some more. It's been a bunch of fun, and it's always nice playing.
I had a lot of fun, Machine. I enjoyed that.
Good.
It was a good cast. So yeah, thank you for joining us.